Why is this Maggie out here again? Woo. Buenos dias. Welcome to the heat in Panama. If you don't like heat, you're not gonna like Panama, and you're gonna run to Boquete, run to the hills. Woo. All right. It's gonna be confession time. Oh, change my glasses. Yes. What time is it? It's 9:25. I've already been out and about. Mm-hmm. So, confession. Got my bag. Now this time of the day is for people who don't work, right? Because if you work, you're gonna say, "What is Maggie doing? Doesn't she know that I have a job?" You know, I'm gonna order one of my cups, one of the SWRA cups, so I can show you. I have a confession, so I'm setting up. This is my Duran. And yesterday I did get Ideal. This is, instead of carnation milk, this one is a good brand. Ideal. So, I came in and I turned the pitcher on. So I got my water. You know, I do have a small coffee maker. I use it rarely. I'm too lazy. I can make 5 cups in my, and then I started using this monk fruit. It's okay. I like Splenda better. And I'm gonna have, I did wash my hands, that's what I do when I first get in. Alright, I'm Caribbean, that's how I drink my coffee, okay? Shar, good morning. I tell you, when I get a cup of coffee, I'm not gonna take my hat off. Just perks me right up. Yes. Woo. Turn the fan on. Robin, good morning. And you should see, I'm gonna post it when I was getting on the metro on the way back. Because it doesn't matter how early it is, you are gonna sweat. You know, I'm finally seeing some of the ladies, local ladies sweat. Because before we used to say, oh, Panamanian ladies do not sweat. But this heat doesn't discriminate, okay? So I get there and I come down the escalator and then they have the fans blowing and I stand there. And people are coming down, people are going up, and they kind of look around me. I'm like, I'm just enjoying. Confession time. So I went to San Felipe today. Yesterday, I went to Supermercado Rey. I was on the computer all day after I did the workout. I said, okay, I haven't been to the store in a couple of weeks. You know, I had no sardines, I had no herbs, you know, and some basic things. So I needed to go. But I left here at about 5 something, which is around rush hour, which is really not the best time to be out there. It's not like it's dangerous or anything, it's just volume, right? Whether you take the metro or the bus. But it wasn't bad. I think I missed that peak time of 5:30, 6 o'clock. Buenos dias. So when I got there, it was okay, but the store was busy. And I did not like that. There were so many people from aisle to aisle, which is what happens when I go to Reba Smith on a weekend evening. Oh, no bueno, no bueno. But anyway, this is the confession. On the way back from San Felipe to go to Cinco de Mayo, the metro station, I did tell you about hojaldra. I posted a video yesterday that says, do not start eating the fried bread. You're going to be addicted. And I said, okay, I think I'm going to show my peeps that I am being bad today, okay? So I don't eat breakfast usually. There's a little stand. It looks a little bit cleaner than, you know, it's not like on the side of the road. They have these little small, very humble restaurant, you could call them, you know, they're fondas, but they had, you know, electric, they have the stove, you know, they cook the stuff there. And then I remember last time I had one, this is just flour, a little bit of sugar, and then oil. And I walked myself back. You see what I'm doing for you? I said, okay, so let me show you. When I tell you not to get addicted to this, there was another sister, I met her. She said, I'm addicted to the hojaldra. I said, I know. And I refuse to make this in my kitchen, okay? I don't fry anything. But with coffee, such a good pairing, okay? So confession. And in true Caribbean fashion, I like to dip. And that's what I was going to. I took the bus to San Felipe today. And right next to the bus stop, they'll have like a little cart. And somebody would be bringing, there's plantain, there's hojaldra, there's empanada, there are corn tortillas, and then they have coffee. Some of them have hot chocolate in like big carafes, I guess. And shisheme, which is that corn porridge. And then they have other drinks. Listen, life goes on. It doesn't matter where in the city you go, you're gonna find these carts in the morning. As I said, I don't eat breakfast usually, but once in a blue moon, you got something like that, and then you say, I don't want to die and wish I had hojaldra. Try the hojaldra. Don't have it every day now. That would be a no bueno. Wow. So, I got the supermercado yesterday. I got most everything. I got eggplant, I got lime, I got spinach, and I got a beautiful Swiss chard. Look at this. This is my alternative to lettuce. You know I don't like lettuce. So, I think I was looking for kale because now I'm in love with kale. I finished the kale salad yesterday that I made. So now I'm into kale. But I prefer it raw. I mean, in a soup, it doesn't bother me, right? But I like it raw because, you know, you soak it. You saw me soak it the other day in vinegar and baking soda for like a good 30 minutes to an hour. and then you rip it with your hand, really small pieces, and you really shake it in there in the water to make sure you're loosening up. And then after you finish soaking it, rinse it like 2 or 3 times. You know, you're doing the best you can. Pretty princess. My granny's hat? No, it's mine. I know. You're trying to be funny, but if you give me a compliment, yeah, that's fine. Things like that don't bother me. Good morning, Lynette. And so, I want to show you this. It is just gorgeous. So that's my alternative to if I'm making a salad. And I'll show you what. Look at this beauty. Look how fresh it is. Because you know when you're eating, you want fresh, and then the same thing for this one. I'm gonna soak it, rinse it really good, just to make sure I clean it off any impurities. And you see how beautiful this is? Let me show you the price. So why would I buy lettuce when I can buy Swiss chard for 95 cents? So I said, learn to love Swiss chard. So the other thing I can do before I don't want it to get too withered down is just clean it today and then put it like in a big, you know, I need to get one of those big plastic tub with the cover and put it in the fridge and then make salad with it. Oh. All right, I'm gonna leave it out. I'm gonna do that today. Today's Tuesday, I don't have class. Oh, I have class at 6, but that's okay. So I got that. Got sardine, tomato sauce, which I'm gonna make more marinara. What else did I buy? I bought some black quinoa. I couldn't find any other kind of quinoa. I'm gonna go to Reba Smith to get the white and the red. So I said, okay, tomorrow let me go to San Felipe. San Felipe is closest to me. I can walk there, but usually, you know, depending on the temperature, I will take the bus or the metro. It's up one stop over, which is why I could walk, but I said, okay. And yesterday, in putting all this stuff in my backpack, you know, I had the canned stuff, so I have to always be careful how much I'm carrying because I don't want to overwhelm my back, right? And I said, I'll get the rest of the veggies at San Felipe. So I went there today. Of course, when I go that way, I go to the fish market first. And you know, I still have like fillets. I didn't really need fish. I was looking for the crab, the blue crab. Because remember, now you see it, now you don't. It depends if you're lucky. No crabs to be found. So I didn't buy any fish. So in that area. So I turn around and go into the main showroom, which is the one I've been avoiding because they try to scam us too many times. But we went to a lady last time we were there as a group, and she had a grouper fillet that looked really good, and I cooked it last week. And I'm like, I think I like it better than Provina. So I went today. No, I didn't have it. This is the thing I tell you about Panama. Now you see it, now you don't. So if you see it, buy it. When you go back, you may not find it. Same thing with okra. Now I see it, now I don't. And you just roll with it, right? So I said, okay, I'm gonna get the peppers. You know, I always try to have peppers. $3.50, $3.75 a pound. I'm like, yeah, that's all right. If something is not in season and it's super pricey, I go to the next thing. I have eggplant. I'm gonna get chayote. So I'm good. So I didn't buy it. So I came back with my bag. I didn't buy anything. And the other thing to know when you're going to the San Felipe, where they have the meat, and then you cross over the lobby and you're in the veggie section, they have Yappy. I can use my phone to pay with the app. But when you go to the fish market on the outside where the regular people, the locals, you gotta bring cash, right? And try not to bring large bills. You never pull out a 50 in Panama. That's a no-no. That's a no-no, right? And people tell you when you're coming over, break your money, bring small bills. And I'll tell you one observation. I've been here almost 4 years. I have yet to see a $10 bill here. Even though we use the dollar, they have 20s, lots of 5s. Ones, very rarely. You're gonna get a Balboa. If you get a change, and they're gonna give you change, they're gonna give you the coins. So, I have a 20, and I knew unless I went inside with the midsection and bought, like a $10 whatever, I wasn't gonna get change. So, you're not gonna get a head of cabbage and then pull out a 20. I said, "Full buddy, I'll look at you and said, no, you're not gonna have it." Sometime on the way from San Felipe, they'll have somebody selling little trash bags, and I'll say, "Do you have change for a 20?" He looks at me like, "What's wrong with you, woman?" No. And 2 for $1, so that's why I get my trash bags. So no 10s, small bills to go get your stuff. You go to the person on the corner, don't pull out a 20. They're not gonna have change. Alright? So I did not buy the peppers, I didn't buy anything else. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna use what I have. But when I went to the meat section, I said I need an oxtail. I left my house at about maybe 10 minutes to 8. I woke up at 7:30, which is really great for me. I don't sleep that late usually. So yesterday I made an executive decision because for the last 2 or 3 nights I've been going to bed at 3, waking up at 6, and my body is talking to me. And I'm like, don't do that. Good morning, Loretta. How are you? I said, Maggie, because when I went to the doctor last time, she's like, are you sleeping well? And I'm like, no, I don't get enough sleep. And it's not that I have insomnia. I just don't get myself to bed on time. And that's a horrible thing to do because it messes up your rhythm and inflammation, all kinds of crazy stuff, they say. You know me, I'm the skeptic. So I made an executive decision from now on. My deadline is 1 a.m. I will not go to bed later than that. So by 12:30, I should start, whether to take a shower or just pulling the comforter and try to get myself into a routine. I tell people to do that all the time. Now it's time for me to do my own thing. But if I want oxtail, I know I have to get up like at 6. I have to get there by 7 because everybody knows you get the oxtail early. Just like if you want some good cuts, good fish, choices, you got to go early. This fish that I love, pompano, even though it doesn't look the same here, it's small and the meat doesn't taste the same. I tried it one time. And I said, well, pompano, you only had like 1. And I said, how soon do I need to get here to get? He said 4 a.m. And I said, okay, there is no way I'm going to be getting up to go to a store at 4 a.m. to get anything. Especially, I tell you, I go to bed late. No, that's not going to happen. So I'm like, okay. So I'm going to leave that. I'll taste it when I get home. When I get home. So by the time I got there, metro, bus, I have to walk a little bit to get there. That's how I get my steps. And I tell people, yes, I work out because I need to. I don't like to exercise really, but I move. I'm in the streets almost every day. I love to be out there. And I knew because I had gotten up so late and left at 8, I was going to miss the cutoff. So when you walk into San Felipe, you have the chicken section in the front, then the pork section, which I never stopped there, and then the beef section is toward the end. and and they have all these cases. So I'm looking. I don't see oxtail anywhere. Usually I'm looking for the little tail to stick out. So I go, and they have a rash of fondas on there. I'm not going in. I got some soup there that was really good, but it's so early. I'm like, no. So I turned around, and then I went around again. Ooh, and lo and behold, I saw a tail peeking out. Good. And I said, oh, I get a rabo. Quiero el rabo. What's a rabito? Rabito, remember in Spanish, when you say ito, ita, it's a term of endearment. You're saying cute. Ooh, I forgot the best part. When I went to the fish market, I avoided the section where the older man was ripping us off. And I was looking for the lady who was selling the grouper, which she didn't have. And I turned around, and there's a young man who always sells seafood. Well, this is not the fish market, but you always have like camarones, shrimp and stuff. And I looked there, and he had some good-looking lobster. Now, there's a group of sisters. I took them to the fish market the other day, and the plan is for me to take them back on the second floor to have lobster a la ahi. They call it where they do butter and garlic. Ahijo, I think they call it. And then they say, oh yeah, we need to set it up. So I go there and I see this good-looking lobster, and I said, ¿Cuánto la libra? How much per pound? He says, $15 for a pound for lobster. I don't know how much lobster costs where you are. This is not something that I usually go for because, I'm on a budget. I don't eat lobster all the time. That's like, it's a treat, right? My birth is already gone. So $15 for lobster per pound. Is that a good price? I don't know. Pretty Princess, is that your granny's hat? I think I need to take you out of here. That wasn't nice. Okay. No, we don't insult people on my live. We're here because we just want to be together, and I'm sharing my crazy. And my life is not crazy, but just. So I said, he said $15 a pound. I said tres. He said 3 pounds. And I looked at him. I'm like, no. At $45? No. I said, no, tres piezas. That means 3 pieces. So he gave me the lobster. So now Maggie's gonna have to try to figure out how to cook that lobster with what. So I got 3 lobsters. Ooh, but I'm glad I don't see the head and the tentacle. I don't know what we do. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Maybe I need to do a boil, get shrimp. I don't like corn. What do they put in the boil? The only way I like to eat corn is when I roast it. I use my herb oil and I put it in the oven and I put it in a salad like with the Swiss chard. That's the only way I like to eat corn. Corn on the cob, I've had it in the past. And I put butter and salt and pepper. I think they look good, don't you think? Looks nice and fresh. That's one. It's another baby. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Yes, 2. I got 3. I know that they break the top. This is something that I cook usually. But I can figure it out because, seafood, so easy to cook. You put a little garlic there, some herbs, salt, pepper, and you're good to go. You don't need anything else. The idea with fish is not to overcook it because, I tell you, when I see somebody making, let's say gumbo or something, and then they put the shrimp in with the chicken. Ugh. This is bad. I'm like, what are you doing? Your shrimp is the last thing to go because if you overcook it, it turns to rubber. Look. All right, so I got 3 lobsters. So I'm going to have to figure out how to cook it. Give me some ideas, please, on what you want me to do with the lobster. Certainly you don't want to mix it into anything. You're gonna have to roast it, not roast it, saute it on the pan, in the pan, in the pan, you know, with lots of butter. And I've taught, not taught, I showed folks when I cook fish, I'm telling you, it's me sunshine over 70. Oh wow, hola, I'm getting there, 68. You know, we celebrated our sister this past weekend. She turned 72. She's vibrant. She teaches dance, line dancing. Listen, age is only a number. Age is a number. And we agreed that this heat in Panama, the sun, it does something to you, your mood, your skin. Seriously. Find yourself somewhere where you have sunshine, you see water, you have fresh food if you can. And I know not everybody can take the leap. I get it, sis. Whether it's fear that keeps you, or you're afraid about the financial thing. I get it. Okay. But anyway, so let me know if you have any ideas of how I should cook. You have a channel now. Hey, good for you. Good for you. You know, my sister, today, my video is going to drop, did I say 12 or 4? Is my interview with a 77-year-old sister here who is into AI, okay? Yes. You heard me. I'm not, but she is. Gotta wash my hands. So she too started her YouTube channel, and I think it's wonderful. You know, I'm 68, 20,000 subscribers. I've seen people. There is a little lady, I think she's 80. She's with her daughter in Bali, and I think it's the daughter's channel. Yes, growing by leaps and bounds. You know, people are curious. I'm reading the instruction you gave us a long time ago. Good for you, sis. Good for you. This is the fried bread. You know, I'm telling you, I'm sinning right now, but I'll ask for forgiveness later. If I die tomorrow, I would have had the hojaldra. That's what they call this. And the video I dropped yesterday, I showed you how they use that fried bread and make a sandwich out of it. They use it as a burger bun. It was a vegetarian sandwich with lettuce, tomato, some white cheese, some caramelized onion, and plantain. Yep, that's how we do sandwiches here in Panama. You might get hooked, I'm telling you. So, yeah. So, I got that. And then I walked over to San Felipe from the fish market. You're still planning on visiting Panama? Good for you. I think Panama is a good place to visit. And I'm going to tell you something about me considering moving to another area of Panama. Considering. It has to make sense for me. So, I go to the, I did my little round looking for the oxtail. Rabo de res. Rabo. So I found one place. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, kilo de rabo. And then, I don't think they gringo price us over there. I'm not saying they don't, but I haven't experienced it. The thing in with the rabo, I told you, when you buy an oxtail here, it's not you go get, it's in a carton container, right? And you can get the pieces like this big. Now think about, this is an animal's tail, right? If you get a piece like this is just the tail, right? Can you imagine how big that animal is? It's for the circumference of the tail to be this big. What does that tell me? Ding, ding, ding. Hormones. They probably pump this animal with all kinds of things. And I'm like, no. Yes, this is my son's hat. And this person said, is this your granny's hat? I think she was trying to insult me, and I'm like, oh, girl, no, you cannot have that power over me. No. I wear the hat to shield my face from the sun. I had some with wider brim. People are just so... And what if it were my grandmother's hat? I wear it so. Hi, DC. From DC. My daughter's in DC. I miss her now. I miss the fact that I don't feel like I can just go back and forth as easily as I used to. The energy, too much going on. People being arrested left and right for no reason. Whew, Lord help us. This is what gets you in a funk sometime, right? I said to myself, I brought my Bible back last time I went. I have the English version, I have the French version. And I remember, your grandson? I remember when I was doing Bible study, they talk about the Great Tribulation. Remember the 7 years when things are going to be really awful? And I'm looking here saying, I don't know. I think we are getting into that time. So I'm going to go back and reread that again. And connecting the dots, because geopolitically, the things that are happening. Yep. Are you here in Panama, DC? Yeah. Last time, I think I was there. Was it this year or last year? I think February. Was it this year? All right, DC. I know you had a good time, right? You had to reset your spirit, your energy, everything calmed down a little bit. And sometimes for people who cannot make a permanent move, that is an option that I talk about. Take a sabbatical. If you can get away, because that way you're just saving yourself, right? You're just resetting your emotions, your internal organs, you reduce the inflammation, you take a break. That is good. So okay, let me finish showing you the op sale that I bought, okay? So, because when I went there and I said, I want the rabo de res. Now, when you go into the middle section where they have pork, I don't eat pork, but they also have a tail. And I said, I don't know. I don't mind having oxtail, but pigtail? Something about the pig and the tail just don't compute well in my brain, right? And then they have these homemade sausages that they make here in Panama. What do they call them? Tableños. That means they do all the meat and then they put all the spices and then they put in the casing and they wrap it so they do a lot of them here. And people buy them by the bags. I tried it one time and it did not. I'll try anything once. Nothing that's moving. I don't try anything raw or anything that is uncooked or moving. Like mini, what do they call these? It will come to me, right? So I don't eat anything that moves or is raw. So on the side, close to where the funders are, I saw pig heads that have been kind of chopped in half and smoked. And they're like this color, beautiful red. And I stood there and I looked And then they always say, hola mi reina, what do you want? I'm like, I said, nunca he comido eso. I've never eaten that. But, the other day I was thinking, you could put that in some veggies, in some soup. But just the head, the nose, I couldn't connect the two. So I'm like, yeah, no. So I walked away. No, I haven't tried that, no. They have the cow foot. They call it patas here. That is a big thing. People eat that all the time. They cook it in gravy with peppers and stuff. I have tried it. It's not bad. It's got lots of collagen in it. But you probably need to put it in a pressure cooker because it takes a long time to cook. So, have I tried it one time? I tried it in a fonda. I don't remember if I've tried cooking it. But I think in soups, that's the only time I could use it. But here in Panama, there's something called salve, which is kind of a Caribbean transferred type of dish here. They cook it, it's cow foot, and if you look, S-A-U-S, salve. If you look it up on YouTube, you'll see people doing it. And then they boil it, and then they pickle it with cucumbers, culantro, lots of lemon and onions. That is a delicacy here. If you go to any event, they're gonna have salves, and people buy it like in containers. I have looked at it a couple of times, it just won't pass my lips. I can't do it. Oh, you did. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good way to say it, Didi. You see, and I love the way that you're staying for a few months, because really, Panama is not for everybody, right? And I had a sister who was here a few months, and then she's like, nah, not for me. And she packed everything and left. So she left me her fan and a bunch of other things. She just packed up and left. And I love the fact that some people took the time to research and then decide for themselves. So that way, when you eliminate that from your list, it's an informed decision. It's not something that you did because you heard people say this, say that. You experience it for yourself. If your spirit, you don't feel good in the place, because it's not going to be rainbows, right? You're going to have some challenges like you have anywhere. So you have to decide for yourself, am I committing myself to living here with everything that comes with it? I have to tell you, I've been here almost 4 years. I love most everything about it. There is really nothing about Panama that would make me just say, oh, I can't stand this, I'm going to pack and go. No. Yeah, you do get your challenges sometimes. Yeah, you look around, you watch the news. Yeah, of course. This is not paradise, right? But your soul has to connect with the place. And I told you, my soul connected to Panama on the very first visit. I wasn't looking to retire. I was just here to see the canal. And then it was like, oh, it was a spiritual connection. I'm just telling you. On the video that drops this afternoon, Ife, who's my friend that I interviewed, she said, and I asked her because it was a follow-up to when the honeymoon is over. Now, right now, wearing my granny hat, going to the store, walking and buying food, that's after the honeymoon. You know, I'm not in the restaurants every day. I'm not going to all the rooftops and going here and there. This is not a party, and I'm not on vacation. I'm living here. So I manage when I go to the store, when I walk, when it rains, you adopt, you adjust, and then this is like, this is my life. So just the same way when I was at home, I was like, you know, I need to go to the store here. I need to do laundry today. I need to go pay bills. This is what, after the honeymoon, this is your life. And it comes from within. Right? And there is no right or wrong. No one can tell you, oh, I can't believe this. No. This is you. Don't ignore the noise. I'm getting so excited about my trip. When are you coming, Lynette? As much as I love it here right now, I'm not financially ready. Yes. And it's good to know that. And I've told you guys, look at the numbers. And you know, DC, you did exactly what I tell people. I said, if your finances are not there, or if you have a huge amount of debt that you need to get rid of, or you have aging parents, right? or you have teenagers. I can't even imagine. I've seen some people who said they left a teenager with somebody. I don't know that I could do that. I'm not judging, right? But if you say, I need a couple more years, take it. But take the sabbatical. Come for a few weeks. Relax. Rest. Go to the beach. Lay in the sun. Just heal yourself for a moment. Give yourself that gift of picking up from all the mess and all the noise and everything that's happening. September, you're almost healing it. You better make sure you call me when you get here, okay? Or I'm going to be mad. Okay. I know I'm all over the place. But these vlogs are just for me to share with you. I think I Googled myself or I asked ChatGPT, Maggie Lazar, and it came, oh, Maggie lives in Panama. She pretty much shares her life with the subscriber. I said, that's true. Chat got me there because this is not about making money. It's not about reaching so many, seguidores, we call them here, subscribers and stuff. I don't do stuff for that. And I see so many people on YouTube, one person do a video and everybody does the same kind of video. I've never been a follower like that. So I do what I feel is of interest to my audience. That's why this is the single women retiring abroad or retired abroad. That's it. But I feel like SWRA right now, we kind of getting to step 2. We really need to solidify this growing older here, right? Because if after 4 years you say, well, knowing what I know and all the challenges, we had 2 cops talk to us last week about the hot spots to avoid and stuff. And of course, we already knew that. It's time to kind of hunker down, right? And now I'm thinking extreme weather, earthquakes and disasters, and we can't be running to and fro because they have earthquakes. I can run back to Florida, but then we have hurricanes and we have tornadoes and we have flooding and everything else on top of it. So you make a decision. You're going to be planted somewhere and live the best way you can, taking the best precautions you can, and then let it go. Let it go. You cannot control the elements, the weather, Mother Nature. She's the boss. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad. The sabbatical. And I think, Exodus Summit is going to be here next weekend. I can't go, unfortunately, because I have 2 classes that I teach around that time. But they have a rooftop. I think I'm going to stop in and see if I can see Adelia Abroad-SWRA from Picky Girl. She said, I'm coming in. Oh, you're going to be there? I'm like, not the luncheon, but at the rooftop, which we were at the same restaurant last week. So I know exactly where it is. Not too far from me. But that time of the evening, they do have a bus that I can take that might take me closer to where it is. That's what I'm going to do. The old city has their own fully electric buses now going to Casco Viejo. This is so cool. And it has a ramp for people in wheelchair. Score. And we found the best place to find cheesecake. I'm from New York. We are cheesecake snobbers, right? So when I go somewhere, you say New York style cheesecake, and I take a bite, and I'm like, do not call it that. Do not. Because we know cheesecake. I swear the cheesecake was this big. It was 3 of us. We shared one cheesecake. And I was like, oh my God, I should know about it. I had like 3 or 4 spoonfuls, but. Granny looks like an old man. Okay, she's here again. Okay, pretty princess. I'm just going to remove you. Thank you. She's talking about my hat again. I don't know if it's about or what, but anyway. So let's see. This is, so when you buy a oxtail, I say el rabo, and she picks it up the tail, and then there was a whole part of it. So you have to buy the whole thing. I've told you before. You don't say I want a pound or 2 pounds. No bueno. And then you say por rabo picado. Picado means to cut it for you because it's not totally separated. So she cut it. First of all, she weighs it. And when you buy the oxtail, the way I buy it, it's a lot of bones, which is exactly what I wanted. Because those are going to go in my soups for flavor. You know, I am not a meat eater per se, but certain things, I know, right? I removed her. She's not a princess, that's for sure. But don't forget to hit the like button, guys, por favor, thumbs up. But if I'm cooking something like okra, I need some kind of a meat taste, right? Whether it's fish, whether it's chicken, but mostly what you're looking for is the bone, because that's where the flavor is, isn't it? That's why people do bone broth. Plus, bone broth, you know, they say is healthy. Me, I'm more about the flavor. So if I'm cooking okra and some kind of other vegetables, I like to have the flavor. So when I buy the oxtail, I'm looking for that, and that weighs. So I don't remember how many pounds it was, but she said unsaid. So I bought this for $11, and I would say it's a good 4 pounds. Yeah. So the part that I love after it cooks for 2 hours, you know, this is tough meat. Nah, this is the yummy. This is what I'm trying to tell you. When you buy oxtail in the thing, this part is like 3 size this. Now, when it's 3 size this thing, do you think you're getting healthy meat? Do you? It's pumped with hormone to make it bigger. So there's a guy who's doing some videos now. Oh, look at the price of oxtail. And he goes to Price Smart or whatever he's showing. I'm like, I don't buy stuff like that from Price Smart. I don't buy meat from Price Smart. I don't eat meat. But somebody said, do you only buy your fish from the fish market? Yes, because the ocean is right there, and those fish were just picked up the night before. That's where I go, all right? And I don't buy fish that is grown in a tank. I don't know what they put in that water, or how dirty it is. No. So I buy fresh. So I like my oxtail to look like this, that side. That gives me a sense of comfort. And of course, this is a little tail, there's not much meat to it. But my bones for my okra and for my soups, you know, I throw those bones in there, I cook them for 2 hours, and I throw vegetables in there. You could put some beans in there. Listen, and your herbs, you know how we do it. You can't. You win. So this is like 2 or 3. I think this is the whitest part of the tail with the bone. See? Yes. Woo. But I was so excited because I made 2 turns because I didn't see it the first time. So every case I kept looking for the little tail to stick out. I say, Rabo. Now there's a guy I usually go, and then I said, El rabo se fue. He said, oh yes, se me lo quitaron. That means they came early to get it. There is a chef here who does cooking classes, and I asked him if he gets his oxtail, because he always cooks oxtail. He said yes, but I have a feeling he goes to Price Mart and gets them too, because he cooks a lot of it. But I no longer have a membership with Price Mart, because the first time I came, which I encourage everybody who first comes to Panama, just get a card. When I came, it was like $35 a year for the membership, and then you can add somebody to it. I never did. But when it came for renewal, now once you have the membership with Price Mart, which is like Costco or Sam's, you can order stuff online, which is so convenient. Like right now, I'm getting ready to order some bleach. Actually, I don't need anything else. You know, my underneath my sink, I don't know, just, you know, I don't like to just look at the stuff underneath there. And I'm like, what do we need all that stuff for? You know how they say get rid of all your stuff and get one product to clean everything? So I found the orange cleaner, I have bleach, I have Ajax, sponges, Drano. Oh, I bought that type of Drano because, you know, in the shower, you know, when I have hair, sometimes you would have hair, it kind of slow down, and then you pour that in there and then it clears it right up. So I had that. I have Pledge for the furniture, and then the sister brought me 3 things of Comet. I kept saying I'm a Comet girl, I'm not an Ajax person, so I got 3. And steel wool, I love steel wool. But I still have too much stuff under there. Alright, so I got my oxtail. Why do I cook with it? I love making soups with oxtail. When it's falling off the bone, you know, you come to Panama, you're not going to start with oxtail because Panama is heavy on the Caribbean side, so lots of Caribbean restaurants that will do oxtail for you. And the best one that I've had so far, when I was here like 3 years ago, I haven't been to a restaurant since, it was El Caribe. That was the very first Jamaican restaurant. Now they have Island something, and I have like 4 or 5. And then somebody told me there's a new Haitian restaurant here. I haven't been to it, but lots of Jamaican food. You go to Rio Abajo, that is a big enclave of Jamaican culture, cuisine, everything. And then Cologne, of course, you go to Cologne. But it's funny though, whenever they talk about food in Cologne, I don't see them talk about oxtail that much. No, it's about a lot of fish. They do the sows, and they do the, is it guandon, which is the lining of the stomach that they cook. I didn't like that either. Lots of rice and peas, lots of fish. And plantains, platanitos, fried plantains. So Cologne is about a lot of food, and then they give you a lot of food. So this weekend, we have so much going on here in Panama City. Sabores de Colón is a 2-day event that this young Chinese Panamanian guy has been trying to get Cologne back up in terms of exposure and building business. And they have, the first one they did was in El Dorado, in a rooftop in the middle of the day. Ooh, that was torture, the heat. So they moved it to, where did they move it to? I think they had it in another place in Panama at a convention center. But there were so many booths and vendors and people. It was stifling. It was really, really warm, even though it was in the evening. In Panama, you're trying to find the best time to have an event. There is no such thing, okay? Because the sun rises at 6:30. 7 o'clock, I can't even sit on my patio because it's so hot. You saw me. I was just drenched. Now, in the evening, on a rooftop with the ocean breeze, that is, I have to take that back. That is the best time to have an event. It's in the evening. So last time I went, it was in Cologne. It was outside of a convention center when they have, what do you call these? They have these covered areas. It was still hot. This year, they decided to bring it to Albrook Mall. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I have my 2 classes. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do the live because I'm going to a concert Saturday night at 6 o'clock to the a big field where they have football and all kind of stuff. I've never been there. You know what? I need to go one day before the concert to see where I'm supposed to go. That's maybe Friday I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the bus and figure out my route. I'm going to see Romeo Santos. I know. How old are you, Maggie? With Prince Roy. Bachata. I'm going to be doing the bachata. So I'll be, I'll do some live, a little bit of live, because, when I do the live and somebody's song comes on, YouTube is like, oh no, restricted, you cannot use it. And I don't want to do it too many times because then they're going to flag me. And every time I'm showing something, people are like, no sound, no sound. Then I get in trouble, okay? So that's Friday. That's Saturday. Sunday. So Saturday, Sabores de Colon is going to go on, but I don't know that I can even. Well, I might. I might just go after the second class and then go to the concert from Albrook. I can do that. All right. Sunday for the live. I may not even be able to do the live on Sunday because I signed up for a coffee. They're doing a coffee event where they're going to talk about the different coffees that are grown here. And I love that stuff. You know, I'm a coffee snob. I know we have really good coffee in Panama. Oh, that Duran, let's say it's older than my grandfather, the way that when they started that company. And I love Duran coffee. I don't need to buy anything from Colombia anymore. Sorry. Haven't been to Colombia yet, but I like our coffee here. And we have the geisha coffee, which is the most expensive coffee in the world. It is grown here in Boquete. And in Boquete, they have an event. I don't know if it's that event where all the coffee growers come and then they show their coffee and then people just come. They have judges from all over the world come, and every single year that coffee has won. And it's going to be in Casco Viejo. I registered for it, so I gotta go. So on Sunday morning, that's what I'm going to be doing. Then there's a sister who has an event at her apartment 2 doors down from where I am. So I said I'm coming. So if I RSVP and say I'm coming, I'm coming. And then after I leave her, maybe I'll go back to Sabores. Maybe. But there's just always so much. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the weekend where they have the peatonal in Casco Viejo, where they ban cars from going through, and it's just people on foot. Peaton means a walker. A walker? There's another word for it. Pedestrian. Peaton. So peatonal they call it, which is something that the mayor instituted where they closed off the area, no cars through, and then people just mill around, and it's good for business. And then they always have the pollera dancers and everything with the hat and the music. Listen, one thing you got to say about Panamanians, they love to have a good time, okay? So if you live here, it's catchy. Now that I'm kind of past my honeymoon phase, I don't feel like I have to go to every event. You see what I'm saying? So I'm more selective. If a place is going to be, mob with people and in the heat, because we're in rainy season, every time they have it before, it starts pouring. And I'm like, I don't need to do that. If you're visiting, you say it's a must-see, go ahead. Yes, you should. But for those of us who've been here, it's like, okay, go ahead. Adelante. Enjoy. But the coffee thing, I'm looking forward to it. I love to hear. I did a coffee tour in Boquete when I was there one time, and they show you how they grow it. They talk about the temperature, the soil, which is because it's kind of cool and temperate, and the soil is rich, so it's just really good. They do avocados there too, and I love to see the process. They show you how they plant it, how it grows, and then how they harvest it, and where they store it, and in climate control areas, and then, it's such a procedure. But I'm from the Caribbean. My grandmother, we made coffee at home where I live, right? So I'm familiar with that. And I remember when we used the last part of the coffee, they would use these big old pots, and then they would cook it, the beans, and they dry it before they pound it and pulverize it into the powder, the coffee. So my grandmother used to use that pot, put water in it, and that's the coffee that she would drink. When I was growing up, we had these big pots that you put on the fire to make coffee. And I don't know if you've seen online, the filters were this cloth thing, long, pointed with the iron thing around it. That was our coffee filter. And my grandmother would have the first pass, right? Strong, enough to put hair on your chest. And then she would put some more water, and the watered version was for us, the kids. Oh, I have such great memories of my childhood. I really do. When people talk about their childhood, and I feel some kind of way when kids are robbed of the joy of just being a child. You know? And I see a child and I see grown people and I said, how can a man look at this little child and think of, abusing an angel? It does something to my brain. But thankfully, when I was growing up, we did not have to worry about that. And again, those of us who have not been touched by that, we just say we were blessed. Not that we got lucky or whatever. I don't know why we were spared. But when you rob a child of the opportunity just to enjoy being a child, it's a crime in my mind. Not just the sexual abuse, but just physical abuse. Not caring for the child, slapping a kid around or talking down to them, tell them they're going to be nothing, or use them like little slaves to do. That is. But again, I'm 68. I still can't figure out why people can be so cruel. But I'll never understand men's capacity for evil. How you could do such things to each other, especially to your own flesh and blood. It does something to, and that's when I have to get off that ledge. It's like, okay, Maggie, don't go any deeper. Don't go any deeper, because that's when you might lose yourself or something will snap, right? So you have to kind of retract and like, don't go there. Danger, danger, danger. All right, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. But what I wanted to tell you today is that I went to see my friend, was it last week when I interviewed her for this video that's going to drop today? And she lives in an area that is about 30 minutes. I think, I kind of blanked and we were there on the bus. And I was like, oh, you're going to be in Cologne on Saturday? Good for you. Oh, you're going to the Sabores de Cologne? It's going to be here in the city at Albrook. So I'm looking at, she lives in a house, she's got a yard, she's got a big patio in the back. I showed you on that tour. I don't know if you saw the video. She got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. The kitchen doesn't look bad. She's got a big area that is her laundry room, and her refrigerator is there, so that works. There's a window, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm tempted. And she's paying about 1/3 of what I pay here. I'm like, and I took the little bus, 20 minutes I was there, and then I showed you the multiple, I think 3 or 4 upcoming metro stops. And my friend said the last stop for the line 3 that they're building is going to be right outside her subdivision. I can hop on that and be at Albrook in 30-35 minutes, as much as I am on those trains. And I'm like, that is not a bad thing to consider. My lease is up early December. So you got to start thinking. So I said, okay, let me just kind of open my mind instead of saying, nope, I'm staying right here in the city. Because I realized for my sisters and myself, if we want to say we're going to age here in Panama, the city might not be it. We may not be able to afford to stay in the city. And then the area she lives in is gated. There's a guard for security. Not anybody can walk in and out. When you start getting old, you got to think about that. You got to think about managing your little budget, whatever pension, Social Security, which, everybody is talking about going to be cut. And I keep telling my sisters, we have to find a way to make our dollars stretch longer. Because if we're taking good care of ourselves, we're looking this good at our ages, we may live 20 more years. How are we going to able to finance it? So last night, after I got ready for my class tonight, my class on Thursday, I always have something going on. And I keep saying, Maggie, get on with that cookbook. And I went on Encuentra 24, which is Encuentra 24, which is like an MLS for real estate. You can buy or you can rent. So you go in there and you set your parameters. You say you want a house, you want so many bedrooms, so many bathrooms, you're looking for a patio. I don't have to worry about elevators. That's a plus. And I started looking at some of these homes just to get an idea. And then I was like, I look at the layout. They're small, of course, because they are Panamanian style homes that are not what we are used to, right? Looking at, a house where you're looking, you have all that. The houses that I looked at, lots of walls, not open, and a lot of them didn't have any furniture. So you'd have to retrofit the whole place. One place didn't even have a washer and dryer, because what happens with these homes, they're owned by locals. Like where my friend is, it is the person who owns her house moved to the city with her kids so they can have more opportunities for whatever, right? And so their style is what I was used to when I was growing up, bedroom, 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 wall, 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 a little enclosed kitchen, bathroom, small, small, small. And again, it might be a matter of me switching my mindset, but the only thing I can't compromise on is the kitchen. Because when I came here and I look at this house, it wasn't the view, the apartment, it wasn't the view that sold me. I said I want it to be a place where if I'm cooking, I can look out. Or I need a window, I need light. And that's what sold me. So there's no way, my friend, her kitchen, there's a window, I need light. So one other sister who has moved to that area was doing a comparison video yesterday. She was in where I was, my friend is, and she moved to somewhere else. People want to be on the beach. I don't necessarily in the beach. And she's saying, for her cons, well, it's hard to get to the store to buy food. And I'm like, well, you need to check that out before you move, right? You should have. She's got a limit, certain things that she didn't realize. I was like, because where my friend is, she showed me where there's going to be a big store that's going to be, food and everything else that's going to be right outside her subdivision. She has a bus stop, a big bus stop that just got built right outside her subdivision. She's got a guard. So you got to kind of do the 1, 2, 3 and see what's most important to you, right? So the size of the house may not be the deal breaker, but I need to have a kitchen with a window. And I need a kitchen where I can move around. I don't just open, like I had an apartment I look in San Francisco. I opened the oven door and then it was hitting my leg because it was so tight. That's not gonna work, right? So I'm doing the assessment and saying if it's something that I could do. I don't know that I could, but I'm open to finding out because I'm 3 months out, and if I'm going to look at any, I'll definitely take you along because I got my list that I gotta check. My friend had a big water tank outside her house, so rainwater gets collected, so she's good. The only thing she didn't have was a generator. And in terms of pricing, I saw some houses for like $1,000 over there on Encuentra. I saw a house that was 2,000 something, and I'm like, if I'm gonna pay that much money, why am I moving? So it's gonna be a discovery, but because of the metro and the access to the city, I could be persuaded to start thinking along those lines because, again, growing older, probably not going to be in the city. I was thinking PANAMA, but PANAMA is like 2 hours out. This is 20 minutes. And then the metro doesn't get that far. The metro stops where my friend is. See, that's why you have to do your homework and think critically when you're making a decision. Of course, when you first get here to Panama City, a lot of us rent an apartment. I met a sister the other day. I think she told me she's been here a month, and she said, I'm moving again. And I looked at her, she said, yeah, that was a mistake. A lot of time people come, they get wowed by the newness of things. They see maybe an ocean view, or they see a layout they're not used to, and they're like, oh, I'll take it, I sign. It's like, don't do that. Do like what DC did. Stay in a place for like 3 months. Move around. Check every neighborhood. Get out. Walk. And if you're really looking at an apartment, take that checklist that I give you and don't leave anything out. Then you're more likely to save your deposit, because a lot of these people who keep moving around are losing their deposits. I don't want to give people any of my money. I work too hard for it. So don't fall prey to those things, because even some of these real estate people, they're not really looking out for you. They're not. They want to get their commission. All right? Yep. Well, I like PANAMA. I just don't like the fact that it's that far away from the city. I don't like that part. No. The only reason I like Arahan, because it's 20 minutes. Now you have Panama Pacifico. Panama Pacifico is like 15 minutes. Once you get over the bridge, which we go over the Bridge of America, then you're in, but I haven't been, and I will give myself a chance to just step up. They're gonna have a metro stop there, so that's gonna be good, but their prices are a lot higher there. And then it's, I don't know. There are certain places that just don't connect with me. I don't connect with, and I can't explain it to anybody. I'm just saying, it's just not for me. That's why I like the city. I like being able to just do what I did this morning: hop on the bus, get the metro, go to the store. But in Arahan, where my friend is, she has a car. I'm not looking to get a car, but I can call, because when I was coming, I got off the bus, and then there was a cab just sitting there, and the friend said it's a taxi station, and outside the city, the taxis are safer. Here I tell you, in the city, do not get in a yellow cab, even though I see sisters get in and out all the time, at your own risk, okay? But in the city, you can trust them, because when I got in there, and I told him where I was going, he's like, oh yeah. And then when he got, and I said, are you familiar with that subdivision? He said, yes. He said, are you going to see Mrs. So-and-so? I'm like, oh, because my friend said, yeah, tell them you're coming here for me, because they know me. Where else are you going to find that, huh? So he said, yeah, I know her. And when we got to the gate, and the guy asked me for my name, which is supposed to the guard. And then he said, yeah, I know her. And then my friend was walking down to meet us. And I said, oh, okay. So you develop relationships. So I could have, like you do in Boquete and David and other places, you just connect with a driver. And then when you have appointments, and I tell people, if you're going to book a driver, like people do in other countries, just make sure you have multiple appointments in one day. So it's like you get them for the whole day for a flat fee, and they just follow you around, take you here and there, take you to the store, get your hair done, your nails done, go to the doctor, to the dentist, you know what I'm saying? You can make it work. Even though I may not be able to just get downstairs and just get on the bus and scan but for $1.25, I can do that. And my friend said, when the dog tried to get my little, my friend's ankles, I said, well, then you can't even go for a walk here. This is not good, because I would love to take a walk in the afternoon in my neighborhood. But if I have to worry about dogs jumping and attacking me, that's no bueno. But I can call a driver to come take me from my house to outside the subdivision or to the metro station, so I can come to the city, come to my meetings, go to Albrook, there's a sister who responded to the video and said she's in Costa Verde. Costa Verde is a little bit further west. And that's where my friend said it's like 10 minutes out from where she is. Thank you. It's me over, over sunshine. Thank you so much. And, you know, she said her doctor's there. They have a Price Mart there. I'm sure they have Ray. I saw Super 99. And then when you get to La Chorrera, they have a big mall. So if I wanted to go to the movies, I don't have to go all the way to Albrook to come to the movies. You know, and I'm a planner, so I like to kind of look at things without, you know, concrete evidence and data. But the water is not a problem, but the electric could be. I have to check on the internet because, you know, you're outside the city. And I know PANAMA suffers with a lot of water outages and electric. One day they were showing them, it was for hours, people were, in true Panamanian form, the lights were out for a long time. People had their candles and everybody brought their chairs and they're sitting out there. They had a whole party. They were playing cards. People who had like a radio station that ran on batteries. That's what I like the Panamanian for. They just roll with it. And this is what we need to learn to do. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God. So yes, I am definitely considering that. But I had asked my friend, like I said in the video, I said, well, I don't see any for sale or for red sign. He said, you just ask the gate, the guard gate. He knows who's in, who's out. So, but I'm kind of 3 months out, so it's kind of early to start looking. But yeah, yep. I'm not adverse to it at all. Yeah, you said a pit bull too. And listen, my adrenaline was flowing. Listen, if that pit bull was coming at me, we would have been at it. And you know, with dogs like that, you go for the jaw, right? You go for the jaw. And that little chihuahua would have been kicked over there in the field. No, I don't play with that. Those people should have had their dogs on a leash. You do not. You don't live in the woods. It's a community, and then you have your dog just loose like that. And the thing is, it's not like in the States where you say you could sue them. That's the problem you're going to have. And then she's like, te mordió, did it bite you? And I was saying, look, are you okay? Are you okay? He almost got my friend. They didn't come after me. They went for her. Because the pit bull was this way, and the little one was just, you know, I'm a home care nurse. We used to deal with those little chihuahuas. I'm like, you better put her away or she's going to get a kick. I'm not play with that. Yeah, no, most of the homes have the water tank. The generator is the thing. I mean, if I were to get a house, I'd put the generator in and then saying, it's mine. So if I move, it moves with me. Yes, because this is another thing. I'm going to be doing a video about emergency planning. And I saw somebody said, in an emergency, getting ready for the earthquake or whatever, it says battery-powered fans. And I was like, I don't think I've ever thought about that. So it's on my list to check on Amazon to see if they have battery-powered fans. Because in an emergency, you know, if I'm telling people get canned food, get crackers, get water, get batteries for whatever, I don't have a shortwave radio, you know, power your bank. I have a water, solar-powered charger, make sure that's charged. But the fan, I didn't think about that, because in this weather with no air, it would be bad. And you can't go out there. At least I have windows. If they're not cracked or whatever, you could sit out there. But remember, sitting out there could be really, really, really hot. So all these things you got to think about. Jenny, hola, ¿cómo estás? Yeah, so the generator definitely going to be something to look at. The water tanks were pretty much standard in those areas, you know, collect rainwater. And even, but collect rainwater, it's not potable water. It's not water you can drink. But you know, another thing to get are those chlorine tablets. Because in an emergency, if you get rainwater, for example, get the chlorine, tabs, and it tells you how much per gallon. And that way, because that's what we did in South Africa. We had things that we could put in the water before we drank it. I just boiled my water. But if you have no electric, you can't boil it either. Oh my goodness. Good morning. But anyway, so that's what I'm thinking about. I may or may not stay in the city, so we'll see. Because I don't want to go further. I don't want to go anywhere that's past an hour. 30 minutes. So Panama Pacifico, which I'm not crazy about, but Arahan, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that's my limit. And because of the metro, that's a big plus. So I'm open to that. I am open to it. So we got our oxtail. So today is Tuesday. I have class, but I'm going to be working on the computer today. For Panama, I'll be buying 2 of those power battery fans. Yes. And now that I know I can get things delivered, because you have your address in Miami, so wherever you order, they deliver it there, and then they bring it to you over here. What I'm looking for also, in addition, I need one of those little fans the ladies have put around their neck. It is battery operated, or you could charge it with a USB. And then when you're out, you just put it around your neck, and it kind of cools you down. I think something in your neck, it gets your temperature down, which is great. The battery powered fan. And I'm also looking for some specific dishes that I got rid of when I came. Like my beautiful French onion soup bowl. But I'm worried that if I order them, by the time they get to me, they're probably going to be cracked. Because that happens. And then I'm looking for like the square plates that's going to be deep, so you can have a nice salad, because I can't find any of that here. I'll take a chance. And if they crack, then I'll know. All right? Happy to catch the live. I normally watch later. I'll be there mid-September. Yeah, wonderful. Good time, especially, but keep in mind that the Super El Nino is alive and well here. And they have predicted that October, November are going to be the worst. So in terms of weather, rain, yep. Super El Nino is super active this year. And what it does, they say it suppresses movement in the Atlantic, where you have the hurricanes, but you get the rest of it, the fires, the flood, the earthquakes, everything else. Oh, you coming with Panama Relocation Tours? Yeah, Lynette, make sure you call me. I'm staying. Come on, I got to take you for some hojaldra. The best hojaldra I have was in Chitre. Chitre, I told you I took a turn of the country. I went around, stayed a couple of days here, a couple of days there, on my own, by bus, with the backpack. I do that in Europe, though. And it was fun. It was fun. And the best hojaldra I had was in Chitre. Chitre is like smack in the middle of the country, like 4 or 5 hours out either way. And my attorney is from Chitre. Giovanna is from Chitre. And I remember the first year I was in Chitre, it was around Easter. I went to Easter Sunday. Thank you, Lynette. I went to Easter Sunday service, and they did it on the Saturday before. It was a 3.5 hour service. And of course, I was the only colorful person in the whole church. So I sat there, and then people were passing. It's like, who is this person? What's she doing in our church? I sat there, and they sang. I got up, and I sat down, and I knelt. I got up, and I used to be Catholic when I was younger. And then, but the thing that was so nice about the service in Chitre, they're in this, is it San Juan, whatever, they always have a big church. In any city in Panama, you're going to have a church in the middle of the city, and then across from it, it's going to have some kind of a park. That's just the way it goes. People sit there, and they have the shaved ice and aspal, and So I sat there and I said, I'm going to take this in. The church is beautiful, flowers. And then they had a bunch of kids, maybe that had finished catechism or something, and they were wearing white, and their parents, you know. And then they had a guy playing a Spanish guitar. All the songs was amazing. And I love all that. Then the priest, apparently it's a jokester, you know. I mean, I understand most of what he was saying. He's joking with the congregation, talking about, and then the thing they do on Easter, they start with like Monday, and there's a whole Bible lecture and stuff and singing, and they go to Tuesday, Wednesday. Every day had a significance. That's why it dragged on so long. And then towards the end, the priest comes down. You have the main priest and you have the assistant priest, right? And then they have a big thing of water, and he has like a branch or something. He'll stick it in the bucket and just sprinkle everybody ready to be blessed by it. And then when he gets close to me, I stuck my head out, and I'm like, yeah. Throw a little. I was kind of in the middle, so I stuck my head out. And then when he came on the other side, I stuck my head out. I think I got sprinkled 3 times. So I got blessed that day. Oh my God, it was so funny. Oh. You turned 66. Oh, happy birthday. 9:30. Yeah. Well, and again, when they predict something, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen. You know what? You know that. And then when you don't predict anything and something horrible happens, right? So Peru had an earthquake, Colombia had an earthquake, Salvador had an earthquake. I think yesterday they had nice shaking in Costa Rica, which they, usually haven't. Nobody died, but just some structural damage. And when they have them in Costa Rica, they can feel them in David, in those areas. And they do drills with the kids in school in those areas. So when we feel it in the city, we're kind of in the middle, that means it was a little bit of a big shake, which is what happened in Colombia. We felt it at 6 point something and they were at 7. And they've had some in Veraguas, they had some registered in Cologne, because if you have one of those apps on your phone, when, because they look at the seismic activity all over the world. Japan now is slated to have a big one, but Japan has a lot of earthquakes. Unfortunately, that is that part of the world. Yeah, Indonesia, Japan. But then you see a lot of things now. The Caribbean is shaking, they're saying. Somebody talked about Trinidad being, because they have some, whatever the lines are underneath the water, it's just, everything is messed up. Everything is a mess. And I'm going to do a video about that, because it's kind of nice to know what's happening, why we think it's happening. It's not going to be a discussion about whether you believe in climate change or not. It's what we are doing to our planet, and we're all paying the price. And unfortunately, there's not much we can do. All these fires and these flood things to the extreme. Everything is in the extreme, right? You always had rain, but Bocas del Toros here, we've had rain for like weeks. That's not normal. That's not normal. People have drowned. I think 2 days ago they were showing that this guy went to find his dog, might have fallen, and then he drowned with the dog. So it's just, things happen. Things happen. Yeah, Indonesia, Japan, Philippines is very seismic. They have earthquakes and monsoon, you know what I'm saying? So what are you going to do? Do they just leave because they're afraid? No. They were showing a beach somewhere. All of a sudden, this storm, crazy storm came. People are running. You've seen that. The chairs are flying. Cannot explain this weather pattern. You cannot. I saw a really nice map of the earthquakes and the countries' plates that are affected. It looks like almost all of them, right? Not so much Europe, but Europe has a lot of fires and floodings and floods. You can sit here and say, oh, well, no, we don't get that over here. Really? Okay. All right. In Panama, it says really narrow stretch of land. If there's any tsunamis, we are in trouble, okay? Because you have the Atlantic and the Pacific, water everywhere. We just in the middle, a little stretch of narrow land. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna run, you're gonna hide. There's no basement here for you to go under. If you hit under, you get in the water. Yeah, yeah. Make sure everything is okay with you and your maker. And then when it's your time to go, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. All right, you ladies. I know I kept you a long time, but you know I like to share with you guys. So again, watch my video today. I interviewed Ife. I asked if Ife's been here 15 years. So, you know, she has a lot of wisdom to share. Because a lot of us, you say, oh, I've been here 2 years, 3 years, but 15? And I have another sister who's been here 20 years. Now, I want to talk to her and say, how has Panama changed? What do you remember? And she's spunky. She's going to be 90 next month. And we're going to celebrate her 90-year-old. And she drives. I got in the car with her. She drives. And you should see her doing her stick shift. I'm like, oh, look at my sister. Listen. That was inspiring. Yeah. And she, you know, the car moving in front of her. She said, oh, I've gotten used to them. It's like driving in New York City. She wasn't fazed at all. I'm like, wow. And she's sharp. 90. That's what we have to look forward to. And we want to be in community where we can sit at her feet and listen to her. Even as a nurse, I love to go see my 90-plus-year-old spunky living alone. And I'm like, well, tell me about that time period. And they tell you, oh, honey, I've seen the buggies and this. They saw the internet, you know, computers, everything. And I remember this little lady, I think she was 101. She said, man, I'm tired of living, she said. She said, I've seen too much. I'm tired. Just like, I understand. Yes, ma'am. Like when I had my little 94-year-old, I was a new nurse, and she was having grits and bacon and sausage, and I'm like, and eggs, and I said, oh man, I think she had heart failure or something. You know, she's 101. And I said, you should kind of stay away from that. She put her hand on her hip. She said, let me tell you, young lady, I have been having my sausage and gravy and biscuits. You are not. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 101, let her eat the bacon, Adame. Leave her alone. Oh, my God. All right, guys. I know, you know I can run my mouth for a long time, but I'm going to let you go. Because let's see what else I have to do today. Computer work. My house is pretty clean. So, all right. I will see you next time. I don't know. You know, I do this impromptu. If I got something to share, but I'm not going to be in the stores buying things. I might go for a latte or something because that's one of the things I do to treat myself. You know, sit, people watch and just relax. And I do a lot of that. Yeah. All right. Have a good day. Thanks for being with me. Oh, thank you. You know what? Happiness is a decision, isn't it? It's a mindset. You decide that you're going to enjoy every moment. When I am in the streets, you know, fighting traffic, I enjoy it. When I go to a food mart and I'm looking at this and that, I enjoy it every moment. I don't need a lot to make me happy. I go day by day, minute by minute. And I wish you the same. All right, guys? Au revoir. Have a good day. Bonne journée. Bye.